Hey, how's it going, fellow Trojans and loyal vassals? Very quickly, because this isn't really going to be a review, because there's nothing to really review here. This is just my. I really wanted to. I guess I should probably mention that these are Figma's Max Factory's next archetype, he and she. The flesh-colored and gray-colored variants are supposed to come out in October, I believe. However, I could not wait that long. I wanted to see the differences between the two. The old one, which would be the old one. Interestingly enough, that the male counterpart never got an archetype like this variant. Keep in mind, this is the 2.0. I know they did release a flesh-colored variant, which is actually this one I have right here, boxed, by the way. However, this is the archetype. I guess this would be the. I'll just call it the 1.0 body, male body. And this is the 2.0 female body, this one right here. But we never got a 2.0 male body. The closest thing that I can probably think of is that, what's it called? That one Thinker Figma from the Tabletop Museum collection. However, it's just a little weird that we never got a male counterpart. But here we have archetype he. Let's just take a good look at this guy. I guess I'll go in a little bit more detail between the females, but I'm just going to mention that the male, something also that I noticed I noticed they went with more of a human proportions, because if you notice that the male, I have them just about a lot. There you go. Let's see if I can get you guys in frame. So it looks to me that they went with slightly more human proportions. Because her head on the next archetype, she is smaller than this one. This one is much bigger, and her chest is actually smaller, this one being slightly bigger. Overall, just this whole head and torso are slightly bigger than this. Everything else, I would say, is exactly the same. Let me see if you can get real quick what I mean. If you can see if we can focus here. I apologize. See right there how the head kind of like is way more massive. It's just more of a chrome dome, or from the back anyways. And you can actually see the face more clearer, and I think it's actually it's a pretty looking face. Whereas this one you couldn't really see at all because it is very clear. Aside from that, they're pretty much identical. I did say I would start with the male, so let me just put you guys there. So the male physique is obviously on point. I really like that about articulated figures, where the musculature is very prominent, and I really like this about this figure. Gluteus maximus, very impressive. Pecs, abdominals, deltoids. Traps are a little lacking, no traps, but overall impressive stuff. Slight differences between this and this, obviously, besides being male and one's female, is I noticed that on the knees is that the female actually has her entire, see how it has like a sculpted knee, whereas the male's has his knee below the actual thigh joint. I thought that was a little interesting. And some of the more prominent features about these next archetype bodies, essentially, is four things. I noticed four things. Number one, obviously, is the aesthetics, where they have more of a human proportions rather than anime proportions, because again, the only comparison that I have with the male would be the first archetype male body, which is a lot more anime-ish, and I didn't really like the pecs on this one. It looked very what's the word, deformed, and his head was much bigger, but they have more of proportions, aesthetically speaking. Number two is that this entire torso, both on the male and the female, are actually made of soft PVC, much like their crotch parts right here. They're made of soft PVC to allow freedom of movement on the legs. So because of that, it's actually also a very thin layer of PVC plastic. See, that's very thin. And because of that, it allows the actual joint inside the body to get ridiculously. Also, definitely helps that it's at an angle, so you can kind of see that. See, if you were to see it like that, the actual joint is pegged into the body right here at an angle. Because of that, and the fact that it's also on a ball joint, it allows them to get a crazy upper crunch. Look at that. That is impressive. and that is unheard of for a Figma. That is, this if you collect Revoltech figures, something like this is not that common, because Revoltech figures pretty much have that thing going on. Whereas the difference being that Revoltech has one single joint that allows them to move not only the upper body but the lower body to get an impressive crunch. This one has this ball joint hinge connected to the body, and there's another ball joint below the abs. But however, it's really not really, like, you're not really going to get much of an ab crunch at all from it. That's pretty much all you're going to get. So that is somewhat unfortunate. Yeah. There's that. And number 3, he actually has a double jointed neck. One up here, or yeah, one up here and one down here. The lower one being, oh, we're not focused. The lower one being very small. Kind of see it right there it is. And because this is a soft PVC, you can actually press on against the actual pecs much more than you would normally do, because of the soft plastic, and allows it to get more range of motion. So that is some impressive stuff, and I really like that. Where are we? Number 3. Number 4 is, again, because of the plastic here, he has no problems getting his arms across his chest that hard, because again, this is made of soft PVC, so he can press against the actual pecs and get more natural, aesthetic looking poses. And I really like that. Impressive stuff. Something else I should have mentioned in the beginning of the video is how horrendous, or unless your favorite color is orange, how horrendous the color they chose. I mean, they kind of look essentially like crash test dummies. Personally, I would have preferred that rather than orange, they just make the entire figures white and have, because on the background you can see some illustration of the 15th anniversary of the release of these figures. Rather than having it be white, they could have the white part, like, essentially I wanted the figures to be entirely white, keep these things black, however make this white part orange. And I think the figures would have looked more appealing that way. Or, if you noticed, let's see if I can get the boxes real quick. Here we are. On the box, so here's the female box. This is, see how it's orange up here and black down here. But on the male box, on the male's box, you can see that his is black on top and orange at the bottom. And I was looking at this picture right here, and I was thinking, see if you can kind of see it. See that you can see the male body in the background. I was kind of wishing that maybe, just maybe, they would have made the male Figma here black and just keep her orange, so you could have kind of like a Halloween themed thing going on. That would have been pretty cool. But anyways, moving on. Here we can, I guess you already saw the slight differences between the both females. And I really like this one. It's much more of an improvement. And the same thing as far as articulation, obviously it's the same thing, where she has that impressive ab or upper body crunch thing going on. Because one of the problems, I'm not, because this is supposed to be like a base, like a starting base for what the articulation is going to be for possible future females Figmas. I always thought it was interesting that most Figma females, obviously when it comes to the articulation on the upper body, it kind of always cut off right here, right below the breast, running along the side here, whereas this one, it kind of cuts off slightly below that. And again, this is soft PVC, and because of that, she can get an impressive upper body crunch. And again, this isn't going to be a feature most going to be used on all female Figmas, because I noticed when they released this Archetype 2.0 female body, one of the aspects that was never used a lot, aside from the toe articulation here, was the ability to separate the lower legs from the main body. See if I can, or was she already, yeah, like that? See that? By doing that, like when you separate it slightly like that, it allowed you to have a little bit more range of motion. However, not a lot of female Figmas utilized that feature. It was kind of like non-existent. The only character that I can think of was Hatsune Miku. She pretty much used the entirety of all these joints. So yeah, and because it's also interesting because this female body has pretty much, they did away with this, so I don't think they're going to be using this thing anymore. Secondly, they also don't have the separation of the shoulder thing, which kind of makes me a little sad because I really like that feature about this. But if a lot of female Figmas are going to be sculpted in a way that would allow them to have their arms across their chest, much like this, and I'm not sure if it's going to be soft PVC like this, that would be very impressive. Why are we not focused? And much like the male counterpart, she also has a tiny joint to indicate a secondary neck articulation. However, I feel like it's going to be somewhat more loose. See that? Because it is very tiny, like I said. If you notice at the back, you can actually see that's actually where it's pegged in. So there's that. It's going to be a little worrisome. Aside from that, these guys didn't come with. So I should probably mention the price for these guys, and I'll tell you right now, they're not worth it. I mean, unless you were going to the actual event, because these were exclusive to the Wonder Festival, Summer Wonder Festival of this year. And to my knowledge, also they released these for San Diego Comic-Con. I thought that was kind of interesting. And these, I believe, I don't remember, I think they were going for $20 a piece. And for that price, obviously you can get them if you're at the event. I think that these are great. However, much like most exclusive items go, the price is going to be bumped up to essentially scalpers or people who went to the event, bought them in bulk, and decided to sell them online. On eBay particularly, these guys are going for above $100. That is ridiculous. These are not worth $100, especially for the color. Why orange? So if you're thinking that I spent $100 on a pop for these guys, then you'd be wrong, because again, I'm just saying it out there. If you have a Tenzo account, you can buy stuff on Amazon Japan or find stuff for slightly cheaper than they would be on eBay. I don't want to say exactly how much I paid for them, because it was still a little bit much than what they're originally going for, which was like $20. But I will say that I did manage to find a seller on Amazon Japan willing to sell them for much cheaper than $100 a piece, and for free shipping, because I am an Amazon Prime Japan member. But aside from that, these guys are pretty cool. I'll show you. These are pretty much all they came with. So I guess the total of 3 sets of hands, pretty much. I believe this is the females, and they're both the same expression hands. I can't tell which one is which right now, but these are pretty much the hands it came with, and Figma stands. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the actual male, the gray and flesh variants, because those I think are going to look more appealing than this orange thing. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to end up keeping these. At some point I'll probably give these away. I don't exactly know how I would do that. I mean, ideally I'd like to sell them, but I mean, I feel more comfortable giving these away to people who would actually appreciate them. But for now I'm just going to hold on to them because they're pretty cool. And yeah, I'll show you real quick in the slideshow the poses that you can get out of these guys, because some of the poses that you can get is very impressive. However, I will say that in certain angles like that, the whole like aesthetic is going to be ruined a little bit, but you just got to be creative with it. Alright, Mr. Archetype, let's go show off them poses.